The sun lazily slid across the windows of the spacious living room, casting golden shadows over the boxes still unpacked after the move. Mariana stood in the middle of the room, arms at her sides, surveying her new home. A spacious one-story house with high ceilings, light-colored walls, and a neat garden outside seemed like the best decision she'd made in years. She sighed, tired but hopeful. This was a new chapter, a new life. Lucas, her 9-year-old son, sat on the floor in the corner, deeply focused on building something with his construction set. He didn't complain, but she knew the move hadn't been easy for him. This was already their third home in the past 2 years. After divorcing her husband and the collapse of her business in their hometown, they had moved to the capital where Mariana launched an educational online platform for kids. It had its challenges, but the startup had begun to grow, and now, after securing a major investment round, she could finally afford a house in a good neighborhood. "Lucas," she called gently, kneeling beside him. "Want to check out the garden?" The boy shook his head without looking up from his creation. His lips moved slightly. He was talking to himself, something he'd done since early childhood when he was deeply focused. "I don't want to," he mumbled. "Everything feels strange here. Just give it some time. Tomorrow I promise to show you the school. They've got a soccer team, a pool, even a robotics club." "Mm-hmm." She softly ran her hand through his hair and stood up. Later that day, as she watered the flower beds in the yard, a voice called from the neighbor's side. "Good evening." She turned around. A man in his 40s stood by the fence in a gray t-shirt and jeans, tall, fit, with a tired but friendly expression. He raised a hand in greeting. "Good evening," she smiled. "We just moved in. Nice to meet you." "I'm Martin. I live across the street. I work in IT, mostly from home, so you'll probably see me around a lot," he said with a chuckle. "Mariana, and this is..." She glanced back toward the house and nodded. "My son, Lucas. We just moved from the city. Still getting used to everything. If you need anything, tools, help in the yard, don't hesitate. Everyone knows each other here. Strangers don't stay strangers for long." His gaze was calm, open. Nothing threatening, quite the opposite. A reassuring kind of stability. After all they'd been through, that was exactly what she'd been missing. "Thank you, that's really kind of you." The next morning, Mariana was brewing coffee when Lucas suddenly ran outside into the garden. It caught her by surprise. He was usually slow in the mornings, especially in unfamiliar places. She peeked out the window. The boy was waving at someone over the fence. Martin. He was crouched down, showing Lucas some kind of object, either a compass or a mini drone. The boy was laughing. She felt a wave of relief. Maybe he just needed some male attention. After the divorce from Javier, Lucas barely spoke to his father. At least now there was some male presence in his life. She stepped outside. "Hope I'm not breaking any parenting rules," Martin said with a smirk. "Just showed him a gadget. He into tech?" "Very much. Robots, puzzles, anything you can take apart and put back together." Then I already like him. I was the same. Now I write programs that simulate all that. "You're a programmer?" "Sort of. Used to work in a startup. Now I freelance. UI development, a bit of machine learning. Even tried making some kids' educational games." Mariana tensed a little. Something about his words sounded familiar. "What was your startup called?" she asked casually but attentively. "Cerebrum. Just a small project, nothing major. We didn't get much support, then everything kind of fell apart. You probably haven't heard of it." She nodded, pretending not to recognize the name. But she had. Very much so. When she applied for funding, one of the competitors had a project with a very similar name, but she couldn't recall the details. Meanwhile, Martin distracted Lucas with another question. What kind of things he liked building? The boy excitedly shared stories about his parts collection, and Martin listened as if genuinely interested. Mariana didn't interrupt. For the first time in a long while, Lucas looked animated. That evening, lying in bed, Mariana replayed the day in her mind. Things seemed to be going well. Lucas was slowly adjusting. The neighbor seemed decent. Maybe too decent. Odd that she hadn't recognized him sooner. Then again, it had been years. People change, and after all, it's a small world. Her eyes drifted to her tablet. Tomorrow she had to check the platform's user stats. Recently, their new feature, parental controls, had gained popularity. She remembered with pride how she had come up with the idea after Lucas once accidentally made in-app purchases in a game. Now it was a core part of their monetization strategy. Mariana yawned and turned off the light. Meanwhile, across the street, Martin sat at his computer, reviewing old email threads. On the screen blinked a message. Project Cerebrum has been rejected. Mariana ED platform received the grant from the Vivo Digital Fund. He smirked. And you didn't even apologize, Mariana, he whispered. Next to him on the desk lay a tiny microphone. On a folder was a sticky note. Lucas, Phase 1. Trust. The first days after the move felt like an illusion of peace. The yard basked in soft sunlight, maple leaves reflected in the windows, and almost no sound came from the neighbor's side. Mariana stood at the stove, stirring oatmeal, while Lucas sat at the table drawing. He no longer asked about his old friends or whined like he did that first night, but he didn't laugh either. "What are you drawing?" she asked gently, coming closer. The boy quickly closed his notebook. "Just a map. For a game." She nodded. Lucas had always been an introvert, and she had learned to respect his boundaries. Later, during a Zoom meeting with investors, he asked to go play outside. "Just stay away from the road," she called after him, "and wear your jacket." In the yard, Lucas slowly pushed his bike along the sidewalk until he stopped in front of the neighbor's house. At first, he just stared. Then the door cracked open, and Martin stepped onto the porch. "Hey, Lucas." His voice was warm but restrained. "I'm working on an old projector. Want to see how a hologram works?" The boy's eyes widened. "Really? Is it 3D? "Almost," Martin smiled. "Want to help?" Lucas stepped closer. He didn't say a word, just nodded. That was their first real session. Martin showed him how to solder wires, how to program a board. Then, suddenly, a glowing blue cube floated from a gray box. "Whoa," Lucas whispered. "But it's a secret," Martin said, winking. "You know how to keep secrets, right?" "I do." "Good. This is our secret club. Only for those who can think and never betray their partners." Lucas nodded with childlike seriousness. When he came home, Mariana asked, "Where were you?" "In the yard," he said quickly. "Just riding." "Alone?" He nodded. She held her gaze for a moment, then returned to her laptop. That night, as she tucked him into bed, she noticed him whispering strange words to himself. Something about vectors, cipher, and key. She figured it was leftover chatter from cartoons or games. But Martin was sitting in the dark, facing a large monitor. He was reviewing footage from a hidden camera in his office, scanning Lucas's movements, analyzing how quickly the boy followed instructions. A message popped up. "Target 1, contact established. Phase 2, trust transition." The next few days were full of small things Mariana didn't initially find suspicious. Lucas spent more time in his room, drawing, assembling odd gadgets he said were for a school project. But he never gave specifics. "Mom, why do you password protect that folder with numbers?" he suddenly asked at dinner. Mariana froze. "How do you know it's password protected?" "I clicked by accident, just curious," he shrugged. "Is it important?" "It's grown-up stuff. Business. Don't mess with it, okay?" He nodded, but his expression was too focused for a typical kid. A couple of days later, he came up to her again. "Mom, I need tiny wireless headphones. I found cheap ones. It's for a game. There's split sound. Can't beat the level without them." Mariana sighed. "Okay, I'll order them." She didn't think much of it. Boys love tech, it's normal. But later, after he'd gone to sleep, she entered his room to turn off the light and saw a strange printout on the floor. A diagram of a room. Her office. Her heart skipped a beat. She picked up the paper. It marked points. Power socket, desk, chair, her laptop. Next to it, written in childish handwriting, sensor spot, power cable. "What is this?" she whispered. But Lucas was fast asleep. The next day, he acted like nothing happened. Helped with breakfast, hugged her before school, even sent a funny gif at lunch. Mariana tried to shake the unease, blaming her imagination, but she kept catching Lucas in those blank, calculating stares as if waiting, waiting for something, a signal, an instruction. One night she woke to a strange noise. She walked into the living room. The lights were off, but the screen of his tablet blinked with an open chat. She just managed to glimpse a line before it vanished. Task number 3. Find out why Mom changed the server in March. It's important. Remember, you're protecting her. Her fingers trembled. She covered her mouth to stifle a gasp. "Who are you, Martin?" she whispered. But she didn't know. Not yet. And Lucas was once again on the porch. On his wrist, a bracelet with a built-in microphone, which he believed helped him protect Mom. He told Martin about her office, the visitors, the documents she printed. "Well done," Martin praised him. "You're doing something great." "Will Mom find out?" "Later, when it's safe." Lucas nodded. He truly believed he was helping. He didn't feel like a traitor, only a hero. But his mom. That night she couldn't sleep. For the first time she wondered if she really knew what was going on in her son's life. Lucas was sinking deeper into the game. Only this game wasn't on a tablet nor in his imagination. It was real. Martin wrote the script, and the boy didn't even realize how complex and dangerous the role he had been given truly was. Each new mission came with a thrilling audio message, the voice slightly distorted by a filter. "You're the only one who can help. We must protect your mother's project. There are people who want to harm her. We need data to anticipate the strike. Only you can be close." Lucas listened, breathless. He felt like a hero. And when Martin patted him on the shoulder and said, "You're her shield," something warm and proud lit up inside the boy. The first task was to place the spider, a small microphone device Martin had given him in a black box, under the desk discreetly. "Don't be afraid. We needed to understand who's threatening her." Lucas waited for the right moment. He knew his mom often took evening showers and left her office open. That day he moved quickly, attached the device under her desk, pushed the rug over it to hide it, and returned to his room. His heart was pounding, but he felt like a soldier on an important mission. A few days later, a new task. Martin asked him to take pictures of documents on the desk. "We need to know who she's working with, who's leaking info to competitors. We'll stop them, but you're the eyes and ears." Lucas did it. Found the right moment, took the photos, sent them via messenger. But then it escalated. Martin sent a voice message. "Tomorrow, insert the flash drive into her laptop. Just plug it in, the program will do the rest. Then take it out and leave it in the mailbox. I'll pick it up. This is the final step. After that, everything will be okay." Lucas stared at the flash drive. The tiny plastic rectangle lay in the drawer like an insect's stinger. The next morning, he couldn't eat. His heart raced, stopped, and raced again. Mariana had left for a short meeting at a co-working space and left the office door open. Lucas realized this was his chance. He stepped into the office, approached the laptop, looked around, and inserted the flash drive. The light blinked red, then green. He knew he had to wait a few minutes for the program to finish. He stood like a guard on duty, fists clenched. But then the door slammed. "Lucas?" his mother's voice called. He flinched, turned around. Mariana stood in the doorway, her face a mix of confusion and suspicion. "What are you doing?" He quickly yanked out the flash drive and hid it behind his back. I was looking for a pencil." She stepped closer. "In my laptop?" "No, he faltered. She looked at his hands. "Show me what you have." "Mom, it's not—" "Lucas, please." Slowly, he held out the flash drive. Mariana took it, as if afraid it might burn her fingers. "This isn't yours. Where did you get it?" "They gave it to me at school." "They gave you a flash drive at school? And you decided to plug it into my laptop?" He was silent. She took a deep breath. Her voice was quiet, almost calm, but something dark swirled beneath it. "This isn't a toy. You don't understand what this could be. A virus, a hack. You don't get to just plug things into a work device. Why did you do it?" I He paused. I can't say. Her eyebrows furrowed. Why not? They promised. They said it would help. He lowered his head. Who? He pressed his lips together. Didn't answer. Inside, fear, loyalty, and confusion warred with each other. Mariana didn't push. She looked at the flash drive, clenched it in her fist. Then she knelt down in front of her son. Lucas, if you're scared, if someone told you something, you need to tell me. You're my son. I'm always on your side, understand? He swallowed. I don't know if I'm allowed to. She hugged him. You are. Always. But still, he stayed silent, and she felt it. Later, after he went to his room, Mariana plugged the flash drive into an isolated backup laptop and tried to access its contents. The folder was encrypted. Name, silent key, V3. She made a copy, removed the flash drive, placed it in a metal box inside her safe. Then she called her CTO. I need you to check something. Off the record, just you. The voice on the other end tensed. What happened? She looked at her son's closed door. I think we're being listened to. And not just from outside. Lucas lay in his bed, earbud in place. A voice whispered, You failed. Why did you give her the flash drive? He whispered, She saw. I didn't make it in time. You let us down. We'll have to change the plan. But we still need you. You hear me? You're important. Without you, everything falls apart. The boy nodded, even though he knew no one could see him. It was a test. The next task will be easier. Just tell me who she met with today. Record it tomorrow morning. Lucas sighed. He didn't understand what he had gotten into. He thought he was protecting. But now he felt something cracking. He just didn't know what exactly. 2 days after the flash drive incident, Mariana received a strange email from one of her potential investors, Ivana Soto, a venture fund manager from Mexico City. The email thanked her for the presentation and included a file with analytics for the upcoming quarter. But Mariana had never sent such a presentation. She opened the attachment and froze. It was hers. The spreadsheet she'd worked on a week ago. Graphs, internal forecasts, even a red handwritten note. Do not share with third parties yet. Her heart stopped. She immediately called Ivana via video. Hi, Ivana, I just saw your email, but I'm afraid you received a file that wasn't supposed to be sent. Really? Ivana looked surprised. It came from your company email. I thought you were trying to speed up the deal. Mariana ended the call with trembling fingers. Within a minute, she was on the phone with her CTO, Colin. Is it possible someone sent that presentation ahead of schedule? Anyone from the team? No, Colin replied firmly. Everything's encrypted. And that file wasn't logged as outgoing. Someone leaked it. Outside the server, Mariana whispered. How? She said nothing. The image of her son holding the flash drive filled her mind, but her brain refused to believe it. He's just a child. He couldn't. Colin added, If you're okay with it, I can come by tomorrow. Check your laptop, just to be safe, and take a look at access logs. That evening, Mariana opened her laptop and reviewed recent connections. Among them, an external USB device. The timestamp matched the night Lucas had the flash drive. The logs showed not only that files had been copied, but that an executable file had been launched. Name, listener. Runtime, 38 seconds. It was enough to leak everything. She stood and walked to her son's room. He was lying on the bed, drawing something. Lucas, can we talk? Sure. He flinched slightly, but tried to look casual. She sat beside him. You know I love you, more than anything. Even if you make a mistake, I'll still be here. He nodded, looking down. But I need the truth right now. I received a file that I never sent. Someone copied it from my laptop. He gripped his pencil tightly. Lucas, was it you? Silence. Only breathing. He didn't say no, but he didn't confess either. She reached out and placed her hand on his. Who told you to do it? I can't, he whispered. He said if I tell, it'll ruin everything. That you'll get hurt. Who is he? I don't know, his voice barely audible. But he said that if I help, I'll save your project. That someone wants to destroy you. He gave me tasks, told me what to do. It was a mission. Did he tell you his name? Not at first. Then I realized it was Martin. From the voice, the way he talked. He sent me audio files, instructions, showed me how. He said you were in danger, and I had to be your shield. Mariana closed her eyes. Inside her, pain, fear, rage. Not at Lucas, but at Martin. Martin, who had gotten closer to her son than she had. Have you spoken to him since? Just yesterday, he told me to watch who comes to see you and send him the names. Mariana exhaled. You won't send him anything else, understand? He nodded and then hesitantly added, I can show you the tablet. Everything's there. His messages, the voice, just don't be mad. I really thought I was doing something good. She hugged him tightly for a long time. It's not your fault. You just believed. He's the one who did something wrong, not you. Late that night, after Lucas had fallen asleep, Mariana sat in her office listening to the audio files from her son's tablet. They were titled simply Instruction 1, Instruction 2, Mission, Protection. Martin's voice was altered, but Mariana knew his intonations. The way he spoke, with deliberate pauses, like he was still pitching a startup. Lucas, listen carefully. Today your mom will be working on a new contract. We need to know who the partner is. Just look at her laptop. Take a picture. That's it. You're amazing. We couldn't do this without you. She listened, jaw clenched. This wasn't just manipulation. It was a cold, calculated psychological intrusion into a child's mind. The folder on the tablet contained dozens of messages and photos, printouts, notes, addresses, even surveillance footage from her kitchen. So he had used the spider, too. She opened her laptop, entered the password, and messaged Colin. Mariana, tomorrow at 9 o'clock, I'll have the flash drive and evidence, maybe even footage. Can you back me up? Colin, of course. Let's hunt. She closed the laptop and looked out the window. The neighbor's house was dark, but Martin was somewhere nearby. And now she knew he wasn't just a neighbor. He was the enemy. And she would never let him near again. The morning was unusually quiet. No wind, no kids yelling outside. It felt like even the silence knew something was coming. Mariana sat on the porch with a cup of coffee, but didn't drink it. Her eyes were fixed not on the view, but on the swirl of memories in her head. Martin, Lucas, the flash drive, and those early days, when it all began. It was 5 years ago. She was still a young and eager entrepreneur who'd just pitched an idea at a local accelerator, an interactive online learning platform based on child psychology. Play. Too soft, it won't take off, the mentors had said. But Martin, with his project on biometric B2B interfaces, was the judge's favorite. Confident, calculated, charismatic. They knew each other only vaguely. He had made a few snide comments during her rougher presentations. She'd snapped back only once. Everything changed after the second round. Play made it to the finals and received a committee recommendation for a $150,000 grant. Martin's project didn't. He couldn't hold it in. He approached her by the water cooler with a cold smile and said, Funny, people who make clay interfaces for kids now get money. Real tech? Nothing. Maybe it's not about the tech. Maybe it's about the people presenting it, she replied. He smiled. I don't forget things like that. She hadn't thought much of it at the time. She just walked away. But now, staring at his dark window, she remembered every detail. The eyes, the polite malice, the veiled threat. She opened her laptop and found an old folder of accelerator photos. In one group photo, they stood side by side, her with a notebook in hand, him with one hand in his pocket, a cold smirk on his face. He remembered, and he had come back. That day, Colin arrived in person, in a black hoodie and with a backpack. He looked more like a hacker from a TV show than a CTO. Is it serious? He asked at the door. Mariana nodded. He used my son. We found voice messages, photos, schematics. He built an entire system around Lucas as the access point. Damn. Colin rubbed his face. You want to go to the police? Not yet. I want to gather everything. Finish this and then hit him, with no way to escape. They worked all day in her office. Colin connected the flash drive through a secure shield. They copied, decrypted, verified. One file contained remnants of spyware. It recorded the last 30 minutes of screen activity and transmitted it to an external IP. This isn't just revenge, it's a business operation, Colin said grimly. He's trying to steal everything. Not just your data, your whole platform. Mariana clenched her jaw. And he used a child. My son. Bastard. That evening, memories came rushing back. A month before the move, she had received an offer from the fund. Discounted housing in a quiet suburb. As a benefit for Accelerator alumni. She'd thought it was a coincidence. Now she knew it wasn't. This neighborhood, this house, this neighbor, all part of a plan. So you started early, she whispered, opening a map. You moved in, waited, earned our trust. Then you targeted the most vulnerable piece, the child. She walked to the window. The neighbor's house looked perfectly normal. A light flickered on. Martin was home. She knew accusing him outright would be useless. He'd deny everything. I didn't do anything. The boy came to me. I just showed him science toys. Where's the proof? But she already had some, and she was going to get more. Later that night, Lucas came to her holding his tablet. Mom. Yes, honey? I was thinking, what if I started all this? Like, maybe I just wanted to feel important, and he just took advantage. Mariana sat beside him and wrapped her arms around him. You didn't start this. He calculated every step. You wanted to help. That's not a crime. The crime is using someone's love against them. Lucas pressed his face into her shoulder. I'm scared. What if he gets angry? He's the one who's afraid now, because you're not alone anymore. We're together, and we're not victims. We're mother and son, and we're stronger than he thinks. That night, Mariana recorded a short voice memo for her lawyer. I need legal advice. I have proof of digital intrusion, child exploitation, and tech espionage. Confirmed. I want to meet tomorrow to discuss next steps. She hit send. Tomorrow, the countdown would begin. The rain started in the morning, quiet, cold, not noisy, just creeping into your bones. Mariana stood at the window with a cup of coffee, watching the water run down the glass like ticking seconds. In her mind, there was no longer suspicion, no anxiety, only clarity. Painful, sharp clarity. This had all been a carefully written script. And now, it was time to act. Ever since she installed the hidden camera, Mariana began noticing details she used to overlook. The chair in her office, slightly out of place. The rug shifted by a few centimeters. The coffee mug closer to the edge than she ever left it. She checked the night footage again. On the screen, Lucas. Entering, glancing around, approaching the desk. In his hand, the same flash drive she had hidden a week ago. So he had a second one? He plugged it in, stepped back, waited a minute, and left. Mariana shrank into the chair. He was still in contact. Martin was still using him, but not anymore. In the morning, she met with the lawyer, a sharp-eyed middle-aged woman who reviewed the files, messages, and recordings. You have enough to charge him with child exploitation, unauthorized data access, and invasion of privacy, she said calmly. Especially if the child testifies. I don't want to put my son through more trauma, Mariana said firmly. He's already suffered. I'll handle it myself. The lawyer nodded. Then the next step is collecting physical evidence. If you can prove the device belonged to Martin, Mariana paused. She didn't know where to find that, but her intuition told her, look closer, right under your nose. That evening, as soon as darkness fell, she stepped outside, a mini camera under her jacket, a flashlight in hand. She knew trash went out on Wednesdays. Today was Tuesday. This was her chance. She crept past Martin's gate and approached the side wall. The bins were lined up. She opened one and began to search. Papers, bills, plastic. And then a crumpled sheet with red pen diagrams. Her diagrams. She unfolded it. It was a printout of a meant-to-play flowchart, only the heading was torn off. The handwriting was different, foreign, but the content hers. Next to it, drafts reading, Phase 3, Access Through Trust. Cipher script, age-based adaptation. Audio task delivery. Track emotional response. Mariana clutched the pages, hid them in a folder, and left quickly. It was enough. The next day, police arrived. Mariana had already handed over the flash drives, the recordings, the IT expert's testimony. During the search, they found not only a full archive of stolen data, but diagrams of Mariana's house, a list of passwords Lucas had given him, and the bugs. Tiny microphones labeled LPW internal, a brand Mariana recognized. It was from Martin's old accelerator project. When they put the cuffs on him, he only smirked. I didn't do anything. It was your son. He came to me. I just showed him another way. Mariana nearly lunged at him, but stopped herself. She looked into his eyes and saw not guilt, bitterness, and hate. And she understood. This wasn't just a scheme. This was punishment for the grant, for her success, for not validating his genius. He's a child, she whispered, and you're an adult. You knew exactly what you were doing. He turned away, and at home, Lucas stood in the doorway, clutching his tablet to his chest. Is it my fault? Mariana hugged him. No, you were deceived, but you told the truth, and that makes you a hero. He sniffled. What if everything's broken now? Then we'll rebuild it, together this time. After the search of Martin's house, a strange silence followed, almost soundless. Time itself seemed frozen, but beneath that silence, something stirred, like a spring, wound tight. Mariana still couldn't believe it was over. The same scenes kept playing in her head. Lucas with the flash drive, Martin reading his messages, and she, powerless, watching it all unfold on a screen like a spectator in someone else's nightmare. She sat in her office, a box of evidence in front of her. Camera, recordings, flash drives, crumpled drafts, pulled from the trash. Each one carried a trace of betrayal, a piece of her pain. Footsteps outside the door. Lucas entered, quietly as if afraid to disturb her. Mom? Come sit down. He sat across from her, fingers clenched. They said everything's going to be okay now, but I don't feel okay. She looked at him slowly, silently. Then she stood, walked over, and hugged him. Me too. But we'll get there, because now, everything's out in the open. The next day, she and Colin went to the authorities. They were expected, by an investigator, a lawyer, and a representative from Child Services. Evidence was laid out in front of them. We've filed charges, attempted espionage, exploitation of a minor, unlawful data collection and usage, the investigator explained. His lawyer denies the allegations, claims the child acted independently. That's a lie, Mariana said firmly. He manipulated him, played on fear and guilt. I want that reflected in the case. We're preparing a psychological evaluation, the Child Services rep added. Our preliminary assessment shows signs of post-hypnotic suggestibility. Lucas believed he was on a mission, unaware of the consequences. But now he understands, Mariana said softly, and he's not afraid anymore. That evening, she printed one of the final stills from the surveillance camera, the moment where Lucas stood by her desk, holding the flash drive, but didn't plug it in. He just placed it on the surface and walked away. You made a choice, she told him, showing him the photo. I was scared, but something inside me said, don't. That something is the real you, and no one can take that away. A week later, they received a call. The criminal case was in motion. The trial was set for the following month. Martin would face justice. Mariana sat on a park bench, watching Lucas kick a soccer ball. He had started playing again, laughing again. His laugh was still a little hesitant, like someone learning to trust himself again. Colin came over and sat beside her. We rebuilt the server. It's clean. Passwords are reset. You got confirmation from the investors. They're staying. Seriously? Yep. One of them even wrote, if a project stirs this much drama, the market must need it. Mariana laughed for the first time in what felt like forever. The sound left her lips light and free, like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Thank you," she said. "You did all this." She shook her head. "No, we did it together." Then she turned and called out, "Lucas, let's go home. We've got victory pie." He waved back, eyes shining. On the day of the trial, it rained. Not a storm, just a slow, steady rain, as if the sky itself was trying to wash everything clean. The pain, the fear, the lies. The courtroom was small. Martin sat behind the glass, in a sharp suit, eyes full of contempt. He didn't look at Mariana, but he did look at Lucas, long and hard, as if trying to reach him one last time. But Lucas didn't look away. When the charges were read, Martin's lawyer stood up. "My client maintains that the boy acted independently. Their conversations were about science, technology, and games. Everything else is the child's fantasy and the mother's interpretation." Mariana clenched her fists. Her lawyer gently placed a hand on her elbow. But then Lucas stood up. By law, he could testify, and he insisted on doing so. "I want to speak." The room fell silent. At first, he was just the neighbor. He showed me tricks, games. Then he started giving me missions. He said I had to protect Mom, that she was in danger, that if I didn't help, her business would be destroyed. I believed him. I wanted to be a hero. But then I realized everything I was doing was hurting her. He paused, took a deep breath. He never yelled. He praised me, like I was doing something good. But I started having trouble sleeping. Talking in my sleep, I was scared I'd ruin everything. When I realized the truth, I told my mom. The judge thanked him and added, "You're a very brave young man." They returned home late that day. Lucas went straight to his room. Mariana stayed in the kitchen, trying to pour tea, but her hands wouldn't stop trembling. Lucas came in and asked quietly, "Is it over now?" She nodded. "It's over." "Will he go to prison?" "Most likely, but more importantly, he can't reach us anymore, ever." I thought heroes were the ones who fight, but now I think they're the ones who can say, "I was wrong." She hugged him. "Then you're the truest kind of hero." 2 weeks passed. Spring arrived quietly, with fresh air, new leaves, and the smell of warm pavement after rain. Lucas went back to school, with a smile, and Mariana returned to work. Only now, she wasn't alone. They decided to hold weekly family planning sessions, where he could share ideas and help with the project. He had an idea to create a cybersecurity module for kids. "So other kids don't fall for it like I did," he said. "That's a brilliant idea," she replied. "You're helping kids learn how to be strong. Just like you, Mom."